Welcome to Heroes and Headlocks, the Everybody Loves Madre edition, your one-stop shop for all wrestling, comic, and pop culture-related info, with your host, Anthony. Hey there, everybody. Welcome to episode 6 of Heroes and Headlocks. Today's guest is actually someone pretty near and dear to me. That would be me, Madre. Miss Mandy, how are you today?
I'm doing fabulous. So happy to be here.
I appreciate you coming on the show. I know how much you hate being on film, so this is a new medium for you, right?
I'm very comfortable so far, so no problems.
That's good. And I didn't even have to get you liquored up. That's exciting.
No, just some lemonade.
You may remember Mandy from the Ghostbusters review we did last year. It was the first time we had actually had a guest on our show, though it was the three of us. It was me, Chanel, and her. And I feel like she did a great job, but you hated it,
no,
right?
I have a lot of feelings of being self-conscious on film, but that's my own personal thing.
It's hard. Believe me, this is hard too, so I appreciate you coming on.
Well, I'm happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to playing some games and chit-chatting with you.
So later during the show, we'll actually be having a trivia contest, see who can get the most answers right in their particular field of expertise. Mine will be wrestling and comics, and hers will be Everybody Love Raymond.
Yes, that's right. ELR.
Oh my gosh. Before we get started, I want to give a quick crush. Oh, bloopers are going to be great.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we get started, I'd love to give a quick cross-promotional shout-out to my mother's movie page. It is Mandy's Mini Movie Reviews, right?
Fangirl.
Oh, sorry.
Fangirl Mandy's Mini Movie Reviews.
That's a mouthful. Try
It
saying that
is.
like 10 times fast.
I don't know if I can. I'll give it a go. No, never mind.
No, I think I'm good off that. So, what's new? How's life?
Oh, I'm doing okay.
So, you work as a secret shopper, right?
I do, and I'm a process server.
You're all over the place.
I am. I'm enjoying myself, though. That's what life is all about, right?
Yeah, and it's cool. I feel like over your many careers, you've done like everything there is to possibly be done. You've done management, you've done office work, you've done out in the field work. Like, you're kind of all over the place. So it's cool that you've got to experience different walks of life and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, one of the most interesting things I think I did that not a lot of people have a handle on is being a plantscaper for commercial businesses, high-rise businesses, where you go in and pick out plants and plant them and maintain them, and also taking care of aviaries with birds and that type of thing. So
I didn't know you did the bird stuff, too.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
Wow. Didn't some strange lady sit in the floor and claim to have known you?
Yes, she did. She did. And I've known a lot of strange ladies in my life, and this particular one I did not know.
I wonder why they singled you out. I feel like that's a weird thing.
You know, I can't speak for them other than they were ignoramuses. So.
They just close their eyes and point in and be like, yeah, that's the person I know.
Yeah, that's right. We all have weird experiences in our lifetime, and you know, if we're lucky, we'll learn from them. If not, then they're just interesting stories to talk about on a podcast 25 years later, right?
Very true. So one of my favorite things about you from a very young age is the fact that I feel like you've always been a really good storyteller. Some of my first experiences with rated R movies weren't actually even seeing the movie. It was you coming home from seeing like Jeepers Creepers or what was the other one? Joyride, and just giving me the full layout of the movie. And I swear, like, me and Grandma couldn't take our like eyes and ears off of you. Like, it was so transfixing when you were telling these stories.
I do remember that very vividly. You were totally in rapture listening to the story because you hadn't seen any rated R movies except for maybe, I don't know.
Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park's PG-13, right?
I think it was PG-13, but it just hadn't been part of your everyday life. I wouldn't let you see those movies when you were young. And so it was fun telling you about things and scaring the bejesus out of you.
And now look at me. You can't keep me away from them. I'm
Exactly.
like drawn to it.
And we'd love to go together. We'd like to go see it. And the other one that's coming up, the Jeepers Creepers 3.
So something interesting about my mother is that we are horror fanatics, but we go to the point where we go see movies that we know are going to like keep us up at night where we can't sleep. I don't know why we do it to ourselves.
I don't know, but it is what it is. We enjoy it, and we like getting scared.
It's a weird feeling getting scared.
Like, there was a time that I took Chanel, or I didn't take Chanel. We saw Paranormal Activity here at the house, and she's not a big horror fan, so for her, I think she was doing it just because we had started newly dating, and she was like, oh, I'll give it a chance, and she doesn't really believe in all that stuff. So we saw that movie, and I swear the whole night we were staying up, like, looking at shadows and being like, what's that?
It'll mess with your mind. Lots of movies do that, though.
It's weird. The first one that I think really did it for me was Blair Witch. Like, I was pretty obsessed with that.
You know, I've often thought about that, getting a trip together and going camping up in those mountains.
No, hell no.
Are you interested? Could I interest you in that and going along on that?
Definitely, we're not going to the town of Blair. We're staying far away from it.
But she had hair like a horse.
Oh my! The inside jokes between you and me could literally like fill like a room or like a whole facility. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yes, that's true.
There's little things. Oh, sorry. What?
I was just gonna say yes. We have a lot of them.
There's a lot of little things we used to get fixated on when we were like younger, and I remember like there would be something in a movie that was just so out of place or so weird, and we would just giggle about it like schoolgirls for like, I don't know, like 10-20 minutes.
I guess schoolgirls is okay for me, but you?
Well, you know.
Schoolboy?
I've been known to wear a skirt now and then.
Oh, God.
My favorite one, I think, and it was, I don't remember the year that the movie came out. It was probably the late 70s, was Night of the Hunter.
I think, are you talking about the original version?
They had a remake?
I'm trying to remember. Is that the one
The black
with
and white
Mitchum?
one. Yeah.
Robert Mitchum?
Yeah.
I think that was in the 50s or 60s. I'm not sure.
Really? It was
yeah,
that
it was
long ago?
Yeah, it was really long. It was black and white.
Yeah. Oh, I thought that was just like a, hey, look at us. We can do black and white stuff.
No, I really do think we'll look later after we are done taking
Fact
this,
checks,
but,
ladies
yeah.
and gentlemen.
But I do believe it's from the 50s or 60s. He was quite a young man then.
Well, that movie had one of the best scenes ever where this guy, he's basically like he's a priest, right? Or a pastor?
I think so, yeah.
And he gets obsessed with this family and like wants to kill them all, and he has love and hate written on his knuckles. And I remember this one part where this guy gets a shotgun and they like shoot it in the air, and he pops up from the bottom of the screen to the top with the most horrified like eyeballs, where he just looked like he needed to run the hell out of there. And I remember we rewound it like 15 times. Like, it was great.
You've always had a thing for people with their eyes bulging out. Remember the opera singer that used to horrify you?
Sheesh.
And you rewound that a bunch of times to watch her eyes bulge? I don't know. You
I did not.
about that.
No. I didn't rewind it. I left the room. There's
What
a
about-
different.
What about that movie with Jack Nicholson?
Which one?
With the Martians, their big eyes. You love that too?
I hate that. Well, you know, okay, I take that back. When I was younger, I hated Mars Attacks. I have since grown to really like it because I found the humor in it, and I kind of got past the whole. Like, I feel like when I was younger, I was very much of a sensitive soul. Like, I really didn't like things dying, and I didn't like loved ones being separated. And now I feel like over time I've definitely been more desensitized to it. But yeah, you did a pretty good job of keeping me away from a lot of those things. So a little things I've never even seen before freaked me out before I actually even saw them.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's okay. I turned out okay, so
You're
I'm happy
fine.
with it.
You're not scarred either way.
I'll tell some kids, I'm like, yeah, I didn't get to see Jurassic Park until I was like 11 or 12. And they're like, what?
Yeah, I just thought it was terrifying. I know it terrified me, and I didn't want you to have problems, you know?
See, you spared me from having some horrific events.
Yeah, but it didn't keep me from telling you about different things that I would see, like those other movies. And
Yeah. It weirds me out how kids nowadays, they're so young, and they're being taken to these like horrendously violent, like graphic movies.
I think there's some kind of a situation going on with their parents, and I'm not sure why. They just feel like it's not going to affect their children in one way or another, and I disagree with that. I really believe that you have to take maturity into consideration when dealing with your children, but also age. I mean, things stick with kids. Look at the movies that have stuck with you.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
You know what else stuck with me? The fact you just said maturity instead of maturity.
I knew you were going to jump all over that.
Over the years, my mother likes to say things differently than most people. Instead of saying like, oh, you know, we have some appetizers and stuff, she'd be like, we have some accoutrement. And it would just drive me bonkers. And now, being a 29-year-old man, I find myself saying some of these things, and it just blows my mind. It's like you hate on stuff your parents do until you eventually do it, and then you're
That's
like,
right.
what the hell happened?
It's like a little tape recorder that goes off in your brain, and it just comes to the surface again, and it comes out your mouth before you know it. I do it with my mom. I did it with things my dad would say. It just happens.
Do you remember yak backs?
I do remember yak backs.
I'm going to test your memory. Do you remember what I was obsessed with and I recorded it on my yak back?
No, that I do not remember.
Is that too in-depth for you?
Yes.
I know, that's a little bit of a random memory. The two things I had on my yak back were like half the songs from Fern Gully, and it only recorded in like 15 to 30 second increments, so I would literally have to record the song in different increments and then play them back. And then Everybody Wants to Be a Cat from the Aristocats.
Oh.
I had that recorded too, and I would just like play the crap out of that thing. Yak backs were cool, and now it's like you have so much technology that just does it.
Yeah, everything has changed so much in the last 25 years. Think about that.
Yeah.
Since the time you were very small, everything has come along so far.
Cell phones are probably the biggest
Oh,
thing.
yeah? I mean, we have computers in our hands.
It's true.
Sounds so bizarre. 25 years ago, I would have never thought I'd have a computer in my hand.
And it does so much. It's
You can
weird.
talk to somebody in Istanbul in your phone. I mean, that's odd.
Why, you couldn't do that?
No, not 25 years ago, unless you called somebody on the telephone, but not at
Oh,
all.
you're talking like communicating just by
Yeah.
even like through messaging or,
Right,
different things like
exactly.
that.
Or on, any type of social media site, you can reach out and speak to somebody from the other side of the world and learn something new, share something with them. It's amazing.
I feel like there's also a lot of negatives to that too.
Oh,
But
of course it is. Look at what it's created, a bunch of internet troll monsters on there. It's very interesting.
Matt was actually showing me a video like a few weeks ago where this guy, he is like just, your average, like kind of bigger dude and had a mustache, and he was communicating with this lady from, I think it was like Russia or something, and she kept promising that they were going to be together and he just needed to send money, and like,
Was she catfishing him?
no, she was real,
She
but
was.
she had wanted nothing to do with him. She just wanted the money. So he was like, they were like, oh, we're going to get married. And she was like, yeah, for sure. Just keep sending that money. And like, he lost so much money. It must have been like millions of dollars on this person, because to send the letters even was a ton of money to send it to a different country and stuff like that. And I just thought that was so interesting that people will put so much money into something and have like it all not work out like that.
Don't you know there's a lot of wounded souls out there, lonely, wounded souls that
Oh,
are
yeah.
in search of something to fulfill whatever's missing in them. They're willing to pay and put out whatever they can to get something back. And that's unfortunate, but people take advantage of that.
It's like a hope thing, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
But the problem is, sometimes you have to learn from those type of circumstances to not repeat them.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's just so weird. And the fact that people will like, I mean, you could pretty much find any type of information you want on YouTube nowadays, but like all the different things you can find on there, and you're just like, that really happens in real life? Like, that's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
It does.
Matt
People get
being, oh, sorry, what?
I was just going to say, didn't mean to step on you there. But, yeah, people take advantage,
Yeah.
So,
It makes me sad inside.
yes.
Let's move on to happy topics.
Okay, let's do that.
So the show is called Heroes and Headlocks, so I'm going to throw some info at you, and, if you know it, cool. If you don't, I'll enlighten you.
Okay, I'm ready.
So, in the world of wrestling, trying to think of what interesting stuff you did not know. Did you know Kurt Angle's back?
No, did not know that. He's been gone quite a while. The last time I
Super
saw
long
him
time.
was probably maybe 7-8 years ago.
I think the last time he was in a WWE ring was like 2006.
Oh, so it was a very long time
It was
ago.
a long time
Oh,
ago.
okay.
So he's the general manager of Raw now, so he's like in control of all the big stuff, because Stephanie and Triple H are kind of more off to the side now. Like, they don't really appear on TV as much. They're taking a breather.
And what about Vince?
Vince, yeah, he hasn't been on in a long time. Not since there was a storyline they had a few years ago where Shane came back, and Shane's the like commissioner on SmackDown, and they had a whole feud where Shane's like, "Hey, I'm the rightful heir to this company, so you should give it to me instead of Stephanie." And they had a Hell in a Cell match between Shane and Undertaker, and Vince was kind of like the puppeteer of the Undertaker. Like, it was really weird, but I enjoyed it.
Oh, okay.
I don't-
Lots has happened since I watched any of those programs on a regular basis.
What were some of your fond memories you had? Because I know you and I used to make you watch it like all the
I
time.
liked Booker T.
5 time.
And I missed Eddie.
I love
and,
Eddie.
And my little Ray Ray. I always loved Ray.
Dude, he's still going. Not at WWE, but he's still going hard.
Is he?
He puts on some killer matches on the indies and on Lucha Underground and stuff like that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'll have to show you some. It'll blow your mind how agile he still is. And he's got to be in his late 40s now, right?
You know, he has to be. The other one I've been so worried about. I know it sounds ridiculous because I don't know him.
Woo.
But Ric Flair, yeah. I've been really worried about him. I've been updating you about his health and all that over the last couple of weeks. He's really been through it, but it looks like he's come out the other side and he's going to be okay.
Did you see the shirt he came out with?
I did. I sent it to you.
It's the most inappropriate shirt. It's like, I'm still kicking, mother effers. What? The sense of humor on that guy is great.
He has those shirts for sale this week.
Oh, I'll buy one. You know
Yeah,
it.
I definitely saw he just posted that today. So
Did you know his daughter wrestles?
no, I didn't know that.
She's really good, too. Like, I would tell you that a lot of people hate on her, but she went from being, like, a gymnast to being a wrestler, and she kills it. Like, for not having any talent previous, she caught on very quickly the business. I mean, it's kind of hard not to when your father's Ric Flair.
What's her name?
Charlotte Flair.
Oh.
And Charlotte's actually the place they live. They're from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
So I thought that was kind of cool. But she's been off TV because she's been with her dad and stuff like that. And I don't remember if you heard about all the stuff with the son. He killed himself, sadly. Like, this was like a few years back.
No, I
But
didn't know
he had
that.
like a lot of drug and alcohol problems and just couldn't deal with it.
That's something you never get over.
I know. You want to know something crazy? Is you know how wrestling, there's times where they try to inject a little reality into it and you're like, oh, make it kind of edgy and stuff like that. They had one storyline back when Charlotte first came on the main roster where it was her versus Paige. Are you familiar with Paige?
No, I'm not.
She's one of the youngest wrestlers out there, but she's involved with Alberto Del Rio in like a romantic relationship. And she's had a really rough like few years. Like, she kept getting injured. She had a sex tape of her leak. Like, it's been a rough time for her. And so they were doing a storyline between the both of them, and they told Paige to basically bring up the fact that Charlotte's brother died. And she's like, why don't you just give up like your brother did? And this was on live television. And it had a lot of like pushback because obviously that's such a real thing. And Charlotte and Rick were both said they were okay with it. But I still think that's like really disrespectful to put on that.
I think that's completely inappropriate. But there's a lot of inappropriate things that go on.
Not as bad as it in the 90s.
Speaking of sex tapes, you know what is the best way not to have one released?
Don't do it.
That's right.
Some motherly advice for you.
There you go.
That's the age nowadays, unfortunately. It's like, we were talking about earlier, like, everything's online, everything's available, like, everything's at your fingertips. How do you think stuff like that's not going to come out? Or, like, nobody can keep secrets. You literally have to be squeaky clean nowadays, or else you will get found out.
That's how I'm living my life.
Well, it helps that you don't even know how to work half the stuff in order to do that.
That's right. I'm from the prehistoric times.
Oh my god, that makes me happy. What else is going on? Oh, I don't know if you heard about all this stuff. So you saw the McGregor, or you didn't see it, but you heard about the McGregor-Mayweather fight?
I did. I heard that McGregor, he actually went 10 rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Mayweather, he did win. I guess he showed everybody that he still had it in him for one more fight, and now he's retired. That was it, right?
Yeah, 50-0. Can you believe that?
I do believe it.
That, and you know, it's so funny when we were watching the fight. I went over to my friend's house and we were there was a ton of people there, so we were watching it, and it was really interesting because the first like 5-6 rounds, Mayweather did not throw a single punch. He literally just like dodged, and like he got hit a few times, but like he did not fight back. He just wanted to wear McGregor out. The thing about that, it's funny, is that most UFC wrestlers, if you think about it, are used to a lot less rounds. They do like 3 to 5 rounds of like 3 minutes each. In boxing, there's 10 rounds, and he basically wore him down on his stamina. So when it got down to like the later rounds, he just started wailing on McGregor. And I mean, unfortunately, that's the downside with trying to have a UFC wrestler go over to boxing is they're completely two different sports.
He was over his head.
Yeah. I know you used to be a big boxing fan, right?
I've been a boxing fan, well, really in the 90s. I really kind of stopped watching it as much as I used to. But from the time I was like 12 years old, I would watch boxing matches, all the way through the 80s. Big fan of Evander Holyfield and Mike Tyson fights and Sugar Ray Leonard. And
Yeah.
that's my era. I really enjoyed watching all of those fights. And then I kind of stopped watching a lot of boxing. And then I saw a boxing match in the 1990s for a student that was at Los Medanos College. And he was very good. I don't remember his name, unfortunately.
Was this local?
Yeah. It was
They had a local boxing fight?
Yeah. You were just a little guy then. But
Oh.
yeah, it was very interesting. And I like all that type of stuff. And I really wished I could have seen the fight. But I don't know. I couldn't justify $100.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I didn't spend that much. But I'm glad you got to see it. I can live vicariously through you.
Well, do you know how much tickets were?
To go and be there?
Yeah.
Was that like
Upwards
ringside?
of, yeah, like upwards of $10,000 to $15,000.
Wow, yeah. That's a little out of my league.
So, I mean, and you have to think of how much money they made off pay-per-view sales. Like, it was the most expensive boxing pay-per-view in, like, history. Because what do you call it? The one where it was Pacquiao versus him, that was like $80 or $90. So this was even more than that. It was crazy.
I did hear that they had some problems getting the fight going on time, and it was
Yeah.
delayed because everybody was ordering the fight at the same time,
Mhm.
and the system went down. I did hear that.
It happened to us where it was cutting out a little bit, and I read it on my phone, and I told everybody at the party, and they were all like, "Oh no!" Luckily, it wasn't like super noticeable. They did a pretty good job, but I mean, you have to think of how many people. Like, I had people all week at work come up, be like, "When you guys gonna get the fight?"
Yeah.
So it was crazy, and then they would like haggle with me. I was like, "No, this isn't a haggling price. This is the price it is."
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was funny, but yeah, it was good. It's so weird how all these worlds mesh together. Like, recently, something that was also pretty big is are you familiar with Mae Young? She was a wrestler. She was like one of the older gals, probably when I used to
Blonde
watch.
hair, red hair.
Yeah, it was kind of curly,
They brought her back for some kind of a weird thing that I watched with you one time.
where she was making out with guys.
Yes, I did see that. It scarred me.
So I believe, so they have a tournament for her right now called the Mae Young Classic, and it's bringing all these really good female wrestlers from around the world. So they're not currently signed with WWE. They're just like, from all over the place, and they compete in this tournament. And I really like the fact that WWE has kind of expanded their horizons over the last few years. Like, if you remember, they used to be super proprietary. You had the same wrestlers. They did not mention outside companies at all. It was strictly them. So this was kind of cool. So they had this thing, and they had some famous UFC people who have now converted over to being a wrestler, and they are actually going to try to sign Ronda Rousey because she was backstage at one of the tapings, and she was like, "Name the time and place and we'll fight." So I think that'll be so cool if she ends up in WWE.
That'll be very interesting. I'd be, curious to see how that goes.
And see how she does.
Mhm.
Now, I feel like she might do the Brock Lesnar thing, which is fight like every, often, not super, like, he's considered a part-timer. He'll fight maybe one pay-per-view every other month or something like that. So she's still a huge name, even though she lost twice. Like, I think she's still really badass.
Yeah. I haven't seen her, fight on a pay-per-view or anything like that, but I hear she's incredible.
Oh, she's so good. I almost want to just show you compilations of her, like, almost breaking people's arms. Like, she's ridiculous.
Oh, I don't want to see someone's arm get broken, but I understand that she's pretty powerful.
I feel like over the years you've become much more of a sensitive soul.
I don't know if I'm a sensitive soul. I still like to watch boxing, but that other's a little hardcore for me when they're doing, the kicks and all of that. I don't know. And then once they have them down, they're still hitting on them. And
Well, the ref eventually calls it. Like,
yeah,
if they're...
eventually, keyword, eventually. It just is, I've seen some things I'm like, holy moly, that's, completely different than boxing, where they're worried about the head injuries and people, getting to be unconscious and all that. And
Yeah.
those type of things, I don't know, it's a little too much for me.
Well, that was my main problem. This is probably just because I'm all vicious now. But that was my main problem with the McGregor-Mayweather fight is so during round 10, like, McGregor was getting his ass whooped. There's no, like, ifs, ands, or buts about it. But they called it, and he wasn't even knocked out. He was still on his feet. He just wasn't guarding his face anymore. And so they think part of the rules, I guess, is if you're unable to block your face, they can instantaneously call it.
Did he look glazed over? Like if he...
For a second.
Okay.
But McGregor afterwards was like, I really wish you would have just kept letting the fight go until I fell. Like, I mean, you know, if I'm going to lose, I want to lose. I don't want to get, in a sense, disqualified because of that. So, I mean, I think it's because I'm so used to UFC now where you're down and you're either out or, like, you cannot continue and you tap. Mm-hmm. So I think it's such a different world, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? So enough about that wrestling. I'll talk about it by myself because half that stuff you're going to be like, I don't know who that is. So we'll move on to some comic book stuff.
Okay, let's do it.
So I just showed you the latest comics by Greg Capullo called Dark Knight Metal. Mm-hmm. What do you think of those covers?
I thought they were beautiful. The graphics on them were great.
Do you like the fact that you could tell that like he's a super big metal fan?
Yes, I can. The influence is very apparent, I think.
There's such interesting comics, and I'll have to show you the pictures. But so the basic storyline of it is that it's all about alternate realities and universes and the multiverse and stuff like that. So they go to a universe where Batman has been divided into like 5 or 6 different Batmans, and they all have the Justice League powers. So like one is the Flash Batman, but they all look super metal. Like they look gruesome. They got spikes and red eyes and like weird things. So it looks super cool. So I'm really excited to see where that goes. And they're coming out with, I think, the first issue this month. The ones I have are all like prequels. So I think that'll be neat. Have you seen anything on that show, The Inhumans? They've been hyping it up on TV. It's like...
You know, I have seen something about it. I don't remember if it was on social media or if it was in People Magazine or Entertainment Weekly. But I don't know anything about it other than just, like, you know, seeing it.
So what they did is they had it in IMAX, like the first episode. And the Inhumans is like a storyline they've been fighting for forever. I know you don't watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., right?
No, I don't.
You know, for as much as you love comic book stuff, I'm surprised you don't watch more comic book shows.
It has nothing to do with that. You know what it is? It's a time thing.
Yeah.
I like so many different things, and I am so far behind right now in my queue on my Comcast lineup. I can't keep up. So it's not that I don't want to see a lot of things. It's just I don't have a lot of time sometimes. That's all.
I feel you. That's understandable.
Yeah, but then I always think, well, maybe I'll get to it sometime.
Maybe.
And then it just never seems to happen.
Well, there's a lot of pushback with the Inhumans one because it's one of the most celebrated like comics that they have out there, and people are really drawn to the fandom around it. It's really so like they wanted these characters to be pretty spot on, and the problem with some of it is like they don't even have their uniforms, which I kind of think X-Men unfortunately ruined for a lot of people. If you remember the first X-Men, nobody had their classic like X-Men suits. It was everybody was wearing like the black and with the like yellow on it. So they kind of went away from the more cartoony thing after I think the Tim Burton Batman era where everybody was in the most outlandish costumes, and even look at Danny DeVito when he was dressed as like Penguin, like he looked crazy.
Yeah.
So they kind of toned stuff down.
You know, I like that though. I like it over the top like that.
I do
That's
too.
one of the reasons I like Joker with Jared Leto and Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they just look so cartoonish and over the top, and I don't know. I enjoyed that aspect to it. I don't know. That's just me.
So I'm going to call you out because you have some homework you still have not completed yet. And
okay.
I figure if other people make you, then that's better. You need to watch Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman still.
Okay, I did start one of those, and I don't remember which one, and I'm only about 10 minutes in. Something came up, and I haven't finished it. And it was I can't remember which one it was. It was the first one.
If you describe what happened, I'll tell you.
I don't remember what happened. It's been at least a couple months. It was the last time you told me to watch it.
Hot damn.
And it was on HBO.
Oh, okay. It was probably... It could have been either one, actually.
I don't know.
I really... As much as people shit on those movies, I feel like you still have to see them to understand what's going on. I mean, you saw Suicide Squad with me in theaters.
I did.
And that was such an interesting experience. I know you were very conflicted. Like, you liked it, but there was stuff, obviously, you feel they could have changed.
Right. Like I said, the biggest part of it, the draw for me, was how cartoony they looked.
Yeah.
It was over the top crazy, but some of it I really liked. And now that some distance has come between that time I watched it, I'd like to see it again.
Yeah.
To kind of get a fresh perspective on it now that I've had some time to think about it. I don't know. How do you feel?
Well, they have a director's cut. It doesn't
okay.
add that much more stuff, but the scenes it does add kind of help to further the plot a little bit, but not by a lot. They started production, or I think in January they're starting production on number 2. So that'll be pretty cool. I'm excited.
All the same cast of characters?
Well, except for the ones that died.
Well, yeah. That makes it kind of hard if they come back and they're not supposed to be there.
I don't know if you listen. I don't think you listened to the last podcast, but we were talking about when Nicolas Cage was a douche.
Yeah. I did happen to hear that part.
Oh, did you?
I don't remember if it was when you were with Vince or you were with Matt.
I was with Matt and Vince.
Okay.
Oh, no, I was with Matt. You're right.
Okay, and you said that how he had a spoiler alert, but there was no spoiler alert warning. He just went ahead and said that he wasn't coming back because his character was killed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. That was the 2010 WonderCon in San Francisco.
Look at you remembering the date and stuff.
Yeah, it was April. It was during the Cherry Blossom Festival.
Yeah. I was telling everybody how, like, excited you were because it's the first time you've ever been to anything like that.
Yeah, I really wanted to go to the San Francisco one this weekend. It just didn't work out.
Yeah, the San Francisco Comic-Con, I think, was September 2nd, or it was the 1st through the 3rd, I think.
It was Friday through Sunday, right?
Yeah, they have a lot of people there. I know you particularly wanted to see.
Mm-hmm.
They had Sean Astin there, right?
Yeah, I wanted to see him.
Good old Rudy.
And Judd.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Judd, he's one of my favorite cast of characters from the real world.
Judd
San
Winnick,
Francisco.
right?
That's right. And he writes right now books, Hilo. I don't know if you've ever seen his little graphic novels.
I don't think I have.
Yeah, for kids. You should look it up when we're done.
It's cool?
Yeah, I follow him. As you know, I follow many, many things on Facebook.
How many things do you follow, Mother?
Close to 6,000.
That's ridiculous.
I enjoy every moment of it.
At least you could say your feed is never empty.
It's never dull.
There's always something going on.
Always something for me to read and learn about that I didn't know about before. Yeah.
Now, since I was little, I've known you to always be my pop culture guru.
Yes.
And I think a lot of the information I obtain in terms of random useless knowledge, I have learned to find out from you or find out from reading things. And I don't know why, but I get just the biggest kick out of telling people like, oh, did you know these people are together? Or, oh, did you know this person was in this movie this one time? Like, it's so satisfying and nobody gives a crap.
No, it's satisfying to us.
Yeah.
Because we have the information and we want to share it with others, but they don't give a hoot.
They don't give a holler or a hoot.
That's why when you and I share information,
We're giddy.
We're both giddy because we both care.
Yeah. And it's so interesting too.
It is.
Like I mean, who really needs to know, like, you know, who this person's dating or who, but I mean, it's just so fun.
It's interesting. I don't know why either. I think it's because you're living vicariously
Yeah.
through somebody else, and it's kind of escapism too, in a way.
Oh, yeah.
A diversion from your normal life, you
Yeah.
know, and you're like, oh, that's kind of interesting. You know, this person is with this person, and, you know, they're in the Maldives Islands or something, so.
I remember we used to like stockpile on People magazine, and I would get Entertainment Weekly, and those were like our two magazines. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because I didn't realize how many people hate on People. And people hate on People. Get it?
I know,
Yeah.
I do.
But it's weird. They are like, oh, that's just like schlock. And out of all the other ones, I feel like probably People's the most accurate.
It is. They have got into a little bit of sensationalism, I'd say.
Oh, did they?
They did. I do think so. They more into some gossipy things that I really don't give a hoot about. But there's some human interest stories and some other type of celebrities doing, you know, good works and everyday humans doing good works, those type of things. Or, you know, I like movie reviews and book reviews and TV conversations talking about what's going to be good that's coming on the new season. I like all of that, and I like chatter. Chatter is a little bit of gossipy, but not too much. So
Just the right amount.
that's right, where it's not vicious. And I don't I'm not interested in that. Like, the National Enquirer or Globe or any of those. I don't care about any of those.
I'm a gossipy bitch. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I love gossip. I think it's so funny. But most of my gossip I read is like wrestling gossip. They're like, did you know there's a real life backstage feud between this person and this person? Like,
Next week on the Bleacher Report.
pretty much. Dude, Bleacher Report's like my life.
Yeah, I love to read that too.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I'm always telling you, I'm reading it.
Oh yeah. You're like, did you know?
I follow that on Facebook.
I'm sure you do. I didn't even know they had a Facebook page. Mm-hmm. Man, I'm out of touch.
You are.
You're like my Facebook guru. Like if I gotta, who should I follow on Facebook? I go ask you.
You don't ask though, because
No.
you're never on.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm too busy doing podcasts.
That's right.
So something else I was doing recently is we recently restarted our Color on the Comic videos.
Oh, I'm so excited for you.
I know you saw the first one we came out with, right?
The unboxing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I enjoyed that. It was a lot of fun.
Now, I briefly asked you before. Now, I know you said that it was different, but in a good way to have not the green screen.
Yeah.
Now, what was visually aesthetically pleasing for you?
What was aesthetically pleasing?
Yeah.
I liked being able to see all of your goodies on your back wall. He has lots of pop collection and posters and different eye candy for you to enjoy during the watching of the unboxing. Usually with the green screen, it's pretty much what he, deems is going to be pertinent to what he's discussing. But I kind of like the change of pace. I think if he goes back and forth, I think that would be good, having, some things where it's just what he has, the collection in back of him, and then on other things with the green screen.
I think that's a good point. I mean, I was worried, to be honest with you, because I wouldn't say I've built a league of fans or anything, but on the videos we did have, I put so much time and effort, and it's just hard to do that nowadays, especially like a video with the green screen and stuff like that would easily take me a week and a half, 2 weeks if it was a long one. And I think the longest video I've ever done was with Vinny. We did the Batman vs. Superman review, which was like both parts were 30 minutes, and I remember I worked on that forever. So this took me a day to edit, day to get out. Like it was real easy peasy. So I really like that, especially with me working like 2 jobs. And
Yes, we can't say what city you work for, but I'm a very proud mother. He does video productions for a local city, and he is the bomb.
Thanks, Ma.
You're welcome.
Gotta love all that motherly encouragement. Perfect word. Thank you.
You're welcome.
But yeah, it's such a rewarding thing to make those videos, even though I think our newest video only has like 30 views. But I mean, who cares? It's fun for me. It passes the time. It's productive. It's just a lot going on all the time.
Wouldn't it be great, though, to have a nice following, and you could share with them and they could share with you, and it could be even more. You could do cross-promotional things for me and for other people, and I think it's great. I think it's not just a hobby, it's kind of your passion.
Yeah, it's what over time, I know when I was younger, the main thing I wanted to be was a comedian. Do you remember that?
I do. I wanted you to go to clown college.
Yeah, and I was like, that's so weird. I didn't even know they had a college for clowns.
I know, it was a serious option. I had told you I would send you to clown college, but you kind of went in a different direction.
Are you happy about that, or do you wish I would have done that?
No, I don't wish you would have done anything. As your mother, I wanted you to do what was going to make you happy. And what made you happy was being in drama and drama production and being a stagehand and being an actor, and you've done some writing, and now you're directing and editing, and you kind of just have your fingers in everything. And that's
all
what
the
I
cookie
know.
jars.
Yeah, that's right. I just know that makes you happy, so that's what I wanted you to do. But I just wanted you to know that the world was open to you. I know that's a lot of mothers say that, but that's what I wanted you to do, is follow your passion. Find your bliss.
I am so happy you were my parent, because I feel for the most part you found a sneaky way to make me more responsible for my actions so you didn't have to be, and I don't know how you did it. It was the greatest parenting technique, but you were just like, if you were disappointed in me, it felt like the world was over with. So you were just, I don't know, I developed a sense of like, I need to be harder on myself than she is, and I don't know if that was luck or you just did a great job, but it was pretty dope how that turned out.
I have no clue. I don't know. When you're a parent, you have no instructional manual. You just kind of go with the flow, and I don't know. That's what you do, and your kid comes out any which way.
It's a crapshoot, basically.
That's
See
right.
how it
And
goes.
I just was lucky because I remember you being small and talking about what you wanted to do, and you wanted to be a comedian because you were naturally very funny, and then you wanted to do the acting, and then you wanted to do the writing, and I just knew whatever you were going to do, whether it was going to be for your job or you're going to do it on the side, that you were going to enjoy your life and you were going to be creative, and that's all that really mattered. And I don't know, that's exactly the way it's worked out. It's really interesting.
Social experiment success.
Yes.
So I want to give a quick shout out to my friend Kayla, who is the nicest person in the world. She actually gave me 2 boxes full of like nerdy geek stuff. So she subscribes to these 2 boxes called Geek Fuel and Bam Box. And I think I like the Bam Box more. The Geek Fuel seemed like it was kind of aimed more towards like the younger population. So, for instance, in this box, they gave her a little mini Deadpool action figure, which you can probably see up there. It's the little cowboy one. He's at the very tippy top. Mm-hmm. So they gave us that. They gave us this rug behind you, which is it's a part, like a piece from Minecraft, I guess. I've never played Minecraft, which probably people are going to be like, what the heck? But I have no idea. And then you know how they had the old school video game cartridges? Mm-hmm. They gave us a cutting board in the shape of that.
Oh, that's very interesting.
It's so weird. So the Geek Fuel one, I was like, it's cool. And of course, I like geek stuff, so I took it all. But
I like it. I think it's neat.
If you want the rug, take it. No.
I don't think I have a place for the rug. Thanks.
I know. Chanel's like, where are you going to put that? I was like, I
guess
don't
you
know.
could put it under your desk.
Hey, there you go, from my feetsies.
Yeah, there you go.
The Bam Box was really cool, though. So in the Bam Box, I got a autographed picture from Teen Titans with the guy who voices Beast Boy. And that was like the coolest thing that she could have ever gotten me. I was like, that is so awesome. So I got that. Last time she got me an autographed mask from Jason from Friday the 13th, which was really cool. And there was a whole bunch of little other things, but they're all autographed. Oh my God, I didn't even show you. Where did I put it? I have an autographed picture from the animated Ghostbusters cartoon from the guy who played Peter Venkman, a.k.a. Lorenzo Song.
Where did you get this?
From the Bam Box.
Oh, that was
Kayla
in
gave
there?
it to me, yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's right
Wow.
up my alley.
Totally up your alley. That's awesome.
So it was cool. I'm very happy with all the stuff she gave me, so I appreciate it, and it's totally going in the room.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait to see it.
I love getting, like, autographed things. Like, what is one of my most treasured possessions in this room?
Oh, I don't know. Let's see. Maybe your Liam Neeson picture?
I will find you, and I will kill you.
That's right. I have a certain set of skills.
Dude, that movie, when we saw that in theaters, I remember we saw the trailer, and we're like, that looks really good. And I had never seen too many Liam Neeson movies. I remember he was in Rob Roy, I think, and he was in Love Actually, and like a few other films where he was just like, this dude. Oh, Darkman, I forgot about that. Darkman was weird though, because it was such a weird movie, and his face was covered.
Tone.
Yeah, like I forget what happens, but I'm pretty sure he like gets melted by acid and then wears like a face wrap the entire time. When we saw the Taken trailer, we were like, this movie looks crazy, and it was.
Yeah, I think Halle Berry, her new movie, her stick-to-itness and her determination and her perseverance and her doggedness to try and get her daughter back from being taken is a lot like modeled after
That movie.
I know his daughter is older in his movies, but
Same determination.
I get that from the trailer. I haven't seen the movie yet, but that is definitely
What was it called?
Isn't it Kidnap?
Oh, Kidnapped. Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that movie looks cool too.
Yeah, it does.
I love how they kind of started a trend with those movies, and they wanted all these like older people to be like action stars. Mm-hmm. And I remember you and me were like going to every Liam Neeson movie after that, and they had like a few, and some of them were stinkers, but
Maybe the one with the wolf.
oh no, I haven't talked about that.
Movie ever, ever. Wasn't it The Gray?
The Gray, yeah, The Gray was such a shit show.
Yeah, I just walked out of there feeling depressed about
The
everything.
so the most epic part of the trailer is they show Liam Neeson taping these like broken like alcohol bottles to his knuckles, and he's gonna fight a wolf, and you're like, holy shit, like he's badass. And what do you know? That's the very last scene of the movie.
Spoiler alert.
Oh yeah, sorry, spoiler alert. Very last scene of the movie, and then it cuts before anything even happens. Mind you, there was like 6 or 7 people on this flight that crashes, and all of them die except for Liam Neeson. Like Dermot Mulroney was in it, and I remember he dies, and you're just like, no, all these people. So it was really depressing. But
Yeah.
I mean, I guess for realism it makes sense. Like, you're not going to get stuck in the wilderness and survive a whole bunch of wolves that want to eat you.
The only other movie that I can even think of that made me feel as depressed when I left the theater was the one about them being stuck out in the ocean.
I was just about Deep Water.
Deep Water, that's
Oh
it.
yeah, that was just terrible. You're
'Cause
like,
you
there
know
was
what's
no
gonna
hope.
happen. No, there's no hope. When there's no hope, it kind of loses me.
Yeah.
Because I always want a glimmer. Yes, that's part of my movie review persona. I just always want a glimmer of hope, a little bit of hope to carry on. If not, if I walk out feeling completely depressed, it ruins the movie for me. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's just a personal thing.
Well, speaking of you and your movie persona, so how long have you been doing like? I know you used to do like blogs on MySpace like forever ago, right?
I did. I started blogging on MySpace. Fangirl Mandy was the name at that time as well. And I was consistently in the top 50 of the movie review blogs on MySpace. And that was in 2005 through 2009, I think.
That's a pretty big accomplishment if you think about it, because you have to think of how big MySpace was at that time. Like, everybody was on MySpace.
It was huge, and it was something so exciting for me because I got to be expressive and creative, and my number one thing is movies. And so I just really fell right into it. And then I fell out of it because they didn't have the same thing when I transitioned from MySpace, which was reluctant to go into Facebook. And now I can't even imagine going back to MySpace.
Yeah.
But they didn't really have the blogging feature. They had notes. You
Yeah.
could tag somebody on notes on Facebook, but it wasn't the same. So my wonderful son set me up with a movie review page about a year ago, and I had kind of fallen off and not done any for about 9 months, and I'm back. I have a new one on there for the movie.
Oh, I saw that. The one you did for Wind River. You said that's with Jeremy Renner, right?
Yeah, it's really good. It's hard to take sometimes. Sometimes it's a very big movie. Sometimes it's very small, quiet. Sometimes it's explosive. Sometimes it's bleak and grim. And at the very end, though, there's hope.
Ah, your favorite.
Yeah.
Do you still rate movies on honeypots like you used to do on MySpace?
I do. I give them 1 to 5 honeypots. And that one, I think, if I remember, I just did the review about a week ago. I think it was a 4.5.
Oh, wow. That's pretty high praise.
Yeah, it was a good movie. It was well constructed. And it took place on a Native American Indian reservation, and it showed us a little bit of the life that some of the people may have to live out there, being isolated in the snow. It was different. It was pretty eye-opening for me. Some of the statistics that came out on the roll, they talk about women. The statistics are not kept for women, for missing people, for Native American women, which I think is just terrible.
Really?
So, yeah, and I had no idea. I put that at the end because I think we all need to ask, why isn't the government keeping track of that for
Yeah.
Native American women if they go missing? I think that's important to know.
That's true. Didn't they used to have a movie like that had like Tommy Lee Jones, and I want to say it was Renee Zellweger, and it was called The Missing or something. Well, we're gonna take a break.
I like quick breaks.
I like a cricket break.
I like a quick break too.
We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back and we'll play some games, and then we'll see what happens from there.
Okay,
Thanks for joining us, guys. And welcome back to part 2. So, to wrap today's show up, we're going to have Miss Mandy over here do some trivia with me, and then I'll do some trivia with her. First, before we get started with that, I just wanted to see how you like that Crossfire.
That was a very interesting little game. I do like it.
So, some crazy stuff happened to me where we went to Toys R Us yesterday, and it was like one of those outlets in the mall, and everyone else was like, why are you going in there? I was like, I don't know, I'll just go browse. And I found Crossfire, which, if anyone knows, is a game that came out in 1971. I think it was made by Milton Bradley, and it was one of the craziest commercials that they had back in the day. And I'm sure I'll play the jingle on here so everybody can know on the outro of the show. But holy moly, was that like the best game, and it's so fun and so stupid. But if for anybody that knows that game, yeah, hit me up. I'll kick your ass at it. It's cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
So let's get started. What do you got for me, Madre?
I have some questions in relations to Marvel Comics.
Ooh, you picked Marvel. Interesting.
Yes, and I have 5 in the lineup here, and I'm going to go ahead and start it.
Okay.
Okay, true or false? Iron Man and others use Thor's DNA to create a clone of him named Ragnarok.
Yes, true?
Correct.
Yeah. Well, that's way different than the plot of the movie, huh?
Yes. You ready?
Yeah.
Second one. True or false? Marvel's first Ghost Rider series was about an Old West cowboy hero.
True.
Correct.
I love that scene from the movie. That's so funny you picked that. We were just talking about that.
That's exactly why I picked it.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yes.
That movie is so bad, but we both loved it.
Yes, it's schlocky goodness.
Schlocky.
Yes. Number 3.
Okay.
What is the name of Peter Parker's clone?
Peter Parker has a clone?
Yes.
Oh, do I have options?
No.
Shit. Schmeeder Schmarker.
No, actually, it's Ben Reilly.
Ben Reilly, really? Uncle Ben? No.
Okay. Number 4. True or false? Pepper Potts has her own suit of armor, and when she wears it, she's known as Rescue.
Yes.
Correct.
True.
And our last one in the lineup here. Number 5. Trickshot served as mentor and trainer of what future Avenger?
Hawkeye.
Correct. I knew you were going to get that one.
Oh, killing the game. Okay, you ready for yours, Madre?
I am. I'm buckled up.
Let me see how many questions this is. This is a little bit more than yours. It's 10, but it's multiple choice, so that's why it happens.
Okay.
Cool? And then I won't tell you if you're right or not till the end, and I'll tell you how many you got right and all that good stuff.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay. So this is the Everybody Loves Raymond quiz.
Okay.
Ooh. Its difficulty level is easy, so you'll probably get it, but we'll see. How many, if you can get the answer, okay, I'll do this. If you can get the answer without me reading the choices, then I'll give you a bonus point.
Okay, so you're going to pause after you read it then, and then see if I know it before you read my multiple choice?
Yes.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay. How many sets of twins does Raymond and Deborah have?
1 set of twins.
Okay. When Ray got the fish tank for his dad's birthday, why did his dad not like it after one of the fish died?
Because he said that it was too expensive to replace it and that Ray had spent too much money.
Okay. In the episode when Ray tries to take his wife's ring back to get a better one, how does he get it?
He takes it out of the, let's see, I think it was a dish right next to the tub when she was taking a shower.
Okay. Why is Ray's brother so mad at him always?
He is jealous because everybody loves Raymond.
There you go. Raymond writes articles about gossip, true or false?
False.
Okay. Raymond's parents live in the basement of his house.
False.
What does Deborah cook for the main meal on Thanksgiving?
A fish.
Really? Interesting. What is Raymond's favorite pizza place?
Oh, well, it had 2 different names. The first name, oh goodness, I know the second name. Oh goodness, Mario's was the second name, and it used to be called Nemo's.
Holy crap. I cannot believe you're doing this right now. You're like superhuman. Where does Raymond live?
He lives in Long Island, New York. And the town is called, oh goodness sakes. Give me a second.
Okay. It doesn't even say this, so if you could, it's just a bonus.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll just go with Long Island.
Oh,
I know there's a name of it. It's Lynbrook.
What is wrong with you?
Long Island. I knew it would come to me.
I don't even want to know how many times you've watched this show. What is Ray's brother's job? That's an easy one.
He is a police officer.
Okay, no surprise. Let me see what you end up with. 100%.
Thank you.
Oh my god, that's sickening. Okay, you gotta tell me how many times you've watched this show, because I know you own all the DVDs and all that.
Yeah, I do. I own every season, and I have seen each one at least 5 times.
Oh my god.
But the favorite ones I've not even
probably a
counted
million.
those. Yeah, because I have favorite episodes that are just fantastic in every single way, and I just watch them over and over.
I'm that way with. I know you don't share the sentiment on this. I'm that way on How I Met Your Mother, Seinfeld, and Supernatural. I could watch those like literally a million times and it'd be okay. The Seinfeld one, you're probably.
Oh, I could watch Seinfeld over and over again. It was a brilliant show.
It was so good, right?
It was so good. It was well constructed. And
Super well.
And that is big for me when it comes to a sitcom. And a drama series as well, but especially a sitcom, because if it can make me laugh every single time I've seen it,
that's a
and
good
I can
thing.
know every line that's going to come out, I love that.
Does Grandma have a show like that, or not really?
No, I don't think she really does.
She just keeps up on everything. Like she's the current one.
Yeah, she likes a lot of different shows, a lot of gritty.
Yeah.
She likes Game of Thrones, and she watched Breaking Bad and Sons of Anarchy and Prison Break, and I watch Walking Dead, but she likes Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead. And
You guys are all over that zombie stuff.
Yeah, we're big zombie fans.
I'm a little bit behind on all that, so I won't even go into it because you'll probably be like, "Oh man."
Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything about what has gone on. You need to catch up.
As Matt would say, I don't want to have you look at me with that disappointed mother look.
Oh, Matt.
It's not the first time I've disappointed someone. Oh my god. Oh, yeah. A few other things I just wanted to talk about, and then we can biggity bounce.
Okay.
So, did you hear that they are planning on making a Joker origin movie?
Yes, and they were talking about not using
Jared Leto.
but they were, or I keep calling him Leto, Jared Leto, and I can't remember who they said that they were going to use instead, but it was just announced the other day.
It was a rumor, so it's not fully announced, but they're thinking about...
it wasn't confirmed.
It wasn't confirmed, but they're thinking Leo.
That's what it was. It was Leo, and it, I don't remember what it was about. It was an origin story, but I don't remember. Do you know any details about it?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
And I don't even know if it's... So, what I've been told, especially with the Batman movie they're coming out with, is that it's in the same universe, but it has no ties to the other movies. So it's not like a connected type of thing, but it is in the same universe. Okay. And so with this one, I don't even know if they're going to go a different route. But I heard Jared Leto's pissed, and I would be too. I mean, he's been in one movie, and yeah, it was kind of like split opinions on it. But I still think for a different take, because obviously you don't want to do the same thing. You already had Heath Ledger do his thing. You had Jack Nicholson do your thing. So it's like different.
Who's your favorite?
My favorite?
Out of 3, yeah.
Oh, that's hard. I really like Jack Nicholson just because it's so creepily accurate, and like it's very much Jack Nicholson but with his own spin on it.
Do you think it's also because that was the first one that you saw?
Yeah, maybe that left the biggest...
That's my favorite too.
It indoctrinated me.
And then I like Heath.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Heath was so
you
good.
And your big 25s at work.
I know. It's funny because like so many... It's the same thing. Like so many people gave Heath Ledger shit because they're like, this guy's gonna suck. Like, I just know about this guy from whatever movie he was in, 10 Things I Hate About You. And they're like, this guy can't pull off Joker. And then he did it, and everybody was like, he's a genius. And I mean, yeah, it did kind of cause him to go depressed and, like, kill himself on sleeping pills, right?
Oh my god.
I know, it went so deep.
You did. I wasn't expecting that turn. You could tell by how my face looked. Oh boy.
You know, the great thing about this show is that we throw some curveballs at you.
Yeah, that was a curveball, a very depressing one. Oh my goodness.
But it's weird, like, with... Yeah, I think that Jared should be allowed to continue like just working on it because he didn't really have that much screen time. Like the other Batmans were the Joker was the primary villain of those movies. This one, he was just kind of a side character. It wasn't even a Batman movie. It was a Suicide Squad movie. So of course they had so much screen time they already had to split between other actors. Like give him a chance to work on it and get more method like he was. So I think that'll be interesting. Of course I'll go see it because if Leo does it, Leo looks. I feel like Leo could pull it off as a psychopath.
Yeah, he already has done a few roles where he's unhooked.
Yeah.
You know, and you can just tell. I don't know if you saw I think what was it called, The Wolf of
Wall Street?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
He's pretty crazy in that too.
Yeah.
So.
And he was already with Harley Quinn technically. Because Margot Robbie was in there.
That's right, she was in there. That's
so
correct.
they got chemistry. And then what else was? Frickin' that one scene from Django Unchained where he unscriptedly broke his hand on the glass and then kept going and then smeared the blood all over Kerry Washington's face. Like, how method acting is that?
That's pretty interesting.
He was just like, let's do it. I wonder if she was pissed.
I don't know.
Like,
I remember the blood, and it was real blood.
Yeah.
But I don't remember really too much
It was
about what happened after that.
The fact it took him so long to get a damn Oscar is just ridiculous.
Too long.
Like, he's too good.
That movie was fantastic, though.
The Revenant?
Oh my God, yeah.
Again, hard to take. Not a lot of hope, but there was some. And at least he got his revenge on... I feel like all these actors are in so many movies, but they always have one comic book movie that they're in, and then you could easily just identify them as that character. So, like, Tom Hardy, you could just call him Bane forever. But it's cool. The Revenant was cool, but it got a lot of attention due to that bear scene.
Mm-hmm. It did.
But it was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and it was based off of an actual person, but of course it was embellished for the screen.
Of course.
But yeah. I really enjoyed it.
It was very well done.
It was an Oscar caliber performance, as they say.
Well, here's your homework, Mother. The next episode that you're on, I would like you to watch the movies we discussed. That way we could discuss them.
The Superman movies?
Yep. And then I am going to eventually show you Rick and Morty, because that is one of my new favorite things on planet Earth, and I want to share it with you, even though you're going to be horrified and probably cover your face and your eyes and your ears. It'll be great, though.
I'll have some questions for you by then, too. Because this was kind of random, everybody. We really didn't know we were going to do this today. He kind of jokingly, offhandedly said, "Oh, do you want to do it?" And I said,
went,
"Yeah."
What?
Yeah, and then all of a sudden his tongue rolled back, his eyes rolled back, and here we are.
Oh, it makes me happy. Well, that'll be it for today's episode, guys. I went with a shorter one since I subjected you all to 2 hours and 40 minutes worth of crap last time. So, nice little tiny condensed one. But thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week on Heroes and Headlocks. Be sure to also subscribe on Podiant and Facebook and YouTube. And then we'll start putting out some more videos. We're going to have the Harley Quinn and Batman, or I keep calling it that. We're going to have the Batman and Harley Quinn animated review coming out pretty soon. So look out for that. And we shall catch you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye. Oh. And make sure to follow Mandy on the Fangirl Mandy mini movie reviews. Holy moly, I said it.
You did. Good job.
On Facebook as well. And yeah, we'll catch you guys later.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us for Heroes and Headlocks. Be sure to tune in next week and feel free to subscribe on YouTube, Podiant.co, and Facebook.